Peace and divine greetings all. It's your boy Gnostis with another video for you. Today I'm going to also be diving back into the same book, The Chakras, Awakening the 7 Energy Centers of Your Daily Life. You know, I want to actually get through it's solving your personal mysteries. And I want to get on this for people who may be sort of stagnated with any of these passions that they feel like they're unable to do, you know, granted, you know, being thrown in different life directions. You know, maybe just pushing something to the side too long that really needs to be addressed if we plan on making something out of it and it becoming a representation of ourselves. So this can touch on, I mean, careers, mainly careers, but careers, I would say, as far as, I want to say art. I mean, art, writing, music, you know, all of those forms of genres within the art class. But I feel like this is something a lot of people, you know, could find useful. So I'm going to start into this chapter here, and I want to start off with this quote that I'm fond of in the beginning here. So it says, solving your personal mysteries. As there are moments when sunlight momentarily illuminates the patterns of waves and flows in a river, so too are moments when the clear light of consciousness reveals the patterns in the person's life role. At those moments, the person loses attachment to a role and begins to see his or her life as a part of the larger whole. Okay? And that's by Harish Johari in the book Leela, The Game of Self-Knowledge. If anybody wants to check that out, you know, on a side note. Okay, so I'm gonna dive right in here. Harish Johari had a comfortable childhood. His father was a judge stationed in several places in India. He was a yogi and he had very few expectations. His life in the here and now, where he performed his duty, when Harish Johari decided to become an artist. His father said, now you have to study everything because an artist has to know everything. Also, keep that in mind. Let me adjust this. There we go. But yeah, keep that in mind so we can tie back into that in, you know, a brief moment when I'm through with this. In a 1999 interview about Harish's life and work, Amrita Sivanan tells a story. As a young man, he worked as a factory manager. However, upon getting married, he asked his new wife if she was prepared to starve. That's a big deal right there, right? He explained to her that he wanted to pursue a career in art, and that almost certainly meant they would be poor for a long period of time, but in the end both happy and rich. The alternative for her, he said, might likely be a miserable husband with years in a boring job. She agreed. Johari quit his promising job the next day. He then took up art projects for no money, but for payment in kind. Clothes, rice, spices, and so on, and that way avoided having to shop. We had no money to spend, but we had food to eat, clothes to wear, and everything I needed was there. Quitting his job as a factory manager to be an artist and ultimately a jnana yogi and guru was a challenge for his family. He left the world of expectations. He chose to follow the path in which he felt he was called to. His wife came from a poor family and always lived a simple life. She let go of her expectations and supported his aspirations to follow the star that beckoned him. So, I'm going to stop that right there, actually. Okay? Well, what I want to get into is more so the sacrifice of getting towards where we need to go to become what we need to become. You know, we still have these societal conditions in which, you know, we are so in the direction of being pleased or pleasing others or thinking that it's the direction that we have to go in. Granted, there are some things that will supply your well-being. There's certain things that we're afraid to let go of in multiple scenarios. So we get comfortable, you know? So as I'm going to stay here, there's nothing wrong with having your day-to-day job, if that's what it may require to get to the outcome that you need to go to. Because our American society is a little different. And if we don't have the support of others around us, then sometimes it makes it a little bit harder for us to possibly achieve certain goals without a certain amount of finances or support, or, different various support systems. Sometimes some of us are fortunate with family. Some of us have friends that are very supportive in our decisions and want to see us grow and want to be a part of that. So they may assist in all ways or some ways that can get us to that point. On another hand, some of us have a larger struggle. Sometimes it's nearly impossible to have any sort of support, so all you have is you. And that's all you need, really. But sometimes with the pressures of today's society, I feel as if it puts our passions on the back burner and we're not able to pursue them. It becomes that little latent thought in the mind that's still a little bit disturbing. And I say disturbing because it's those thoughts of, damn, I wish I really would have done that. Oh, I wanted to do that when I was younger, but now it's too late. Oh, I want to pursue my art, but everybody's telling me, there's no money in art. You're not going to make it with your music. Everybody's doing music. Like, who are you to prove, that you're going to separate yourself from everybody else that's doing it? If you look in today's world, that's what you do. You separate yourself from how other people are doing it. As Harish's father said in the story, is you are an artist, you have to know everything. So if you're a true artist, what we have today, I don't know what people are doing when it comes to, this music shit. Because today it's pretty ridiculous and it's like, what is that? But a true artist is really going to know the psychology of how these things work. As a music artist personally myself, you start to learn how certain tones resonate with certain individuals, how certain sounds, certain words can gravitate towards a certain niche of people. I always try to, withhold a certain caliber of vocabulary when I'm in my music because I don't want to dumb it down. I don't. I actually want you to be elevated and maybe get some words or some knowledge out of it, some wisdom, and also incorporating my passion of what I'm about. So when, it comes to this occult practice, when it comes to this left-hand path practice, and philosophy, I want to incorporate it all within what it needs to be, to get the outcome of what I need for my individuals that listen to my music. So, but there also has been a time, like I said, where I have put my music on the back burner for these daily, day-to-day jobs. And I was becoming stagnant within myself, And I'm still working on this as we speak. So that's another reason why I want to direct this to you all, because it's not just you. It's plenty of us who are conditioned and get out of this momentum of actually being what it is we need to become, what we want to become. Whether it's, an artist, you have to know maybe some geometry that will stick out to your individual, certain colors and how they react to a person's eye. And, what can gravitate them in, and also be able to convey your message. That's what you want. And sometimes for the beginning, only you can see it. But then you'll have that select niche of people who become loving and fond and fascinated by your art. It's just those moments where we become our greatest self and we're applying our potential. It's like physics. You cause potential. When there's no potential, you're causing friction and you're going against yourself, so the wheels aren't rotating in the right direction. You need a constant momentum to keep creating your potential. So we go we go through life with the same conditioned mind, and it becomes, like I said, on the back burner. We'll be like, oh, I'll do that one day, or it's too late, or, I can't wait till I find the time to do this, It's, it really throws us out of our habit, because we know for a fact that we've had this one time in our life when we were on it. We were on it. People were painting, people were drawing, people were writing. It was fascinating to know that maybe one day that your music will get out there. One day that your art will be the next best thing, the greatest thing that you can really provide, for somebody to see the representation of yourself. Same goes for writers. You want to get your book published. You want to see that you want to see all the hard work that you put in become something. Because some people are like, oh, they painted that was simple. Well, you do it. Oh, somebody wrote that song. I could do that. Well, you do it. Oh, somebody wrote a book about that. I could do that. You do it. The thing is that they're not doing it, So then who is to tell us that we can't do something just because it goes against society's norms? Sometimes we have to go against the norms to become the greater self. We have to address the adversarial side of ourselves to become our greatest self, our true self. If we keep denying these things and putting them on the back burner, there's not a way that we're going to become, because we're allowing it to really restructure us in a way that we're not going to get to where we want it to get to. And then you always, it dissolves you, it degrades you, it starts to bring about these depressions because you're not doing what you're passionate about. Your spirit wants to move and you're not allowing it. Again, your spirit wants to move and you're not allowing it. And this can go and I'm saying whatever your art choice is. I mean, this applies to everybody who has some sort of art. I don't care if you're a woodworker, some form of a carpenter, you're an architect, it's all art. But if you can do these things and you're not applying it, that building that you're looking at, that you're fascinated by, that could have been yours. That requires knowledge as well. You have to know the mathematics. You have to know weight distributions. You have to know, proportions of all sorts. So that's why I always refer what his dad said. You have to know everything as an artist. So, even if you want to convey your message through books, you might have other authors that you have respects for, because they might have been a catalyst for your writing, or maybe you like the structure and the pattern that the writing is, because there's so many different varieties of writing, and there's so many ways of psychologically touching your readers. You want them to feel it. And that's the power of an author. I mean, anybody can write a book, but no one can make you feel the way you're supposed to feel behind it besides an author who delivers the energy through their own passion. Anybody can do music, but not so many people can deliver an energy of what they're trying to convey. You hear all this bullshit on the radio, and you just leave feeling annoyed. You're like, who really? They're doing this now? No. I mean, and granted, there's some really, really fascinating painters. There's, so much structure behind it, and so much time and dedication behind that work. And then you got these artists that are willing to just throw something on a canvas, and then they're the ones that make it. And then the artists that are really, really getting the knowledge and delivering themselves, learning from, ancient, ancient art, artists, ancient sounds, writers, ancient forms of language, being able to just convey these things and bring it about within yourself to achieve the outcome of what you're looking for. Because you want people, you don't have to care if people love it, but you want it to become something, and you want it to support your way of life so that you can continue to do it. But as I said, we've been structured and programmed for this general way of living. So this is why I also have been working and combining this chakra book to, allow other individuals to really open themselves up so we don't become stagnated in these ways that we feel we can't do it because we're programming our own inner mind to tell us that we can't do this. We don't have the time for this. No, we do, because like I said, we can find time to scroll on the Facebook, scroll through Pinterest, watch television most of the day, but we can't find the time to dedicate to reading, physical exercise, our passions, because it takes discipline. And so many of us have these issues with discipline from your parents. Like, I don't want to hear shit. No, it's a discipline. I'm not saying everything, because granted, not everything our parents are saying are right. But sometimes they make us move in ways that we might not have wanted to get into, but it gets us out of that stagnant point to get us to where we need to be. That's where we have to take in the difference between telling what to be told, what to do, and how to apply the ways of what's being told that may be beneficial to us in becoming our greater selves. So we have to get out of these conditions and telling the mind that we can't first. And, really get ourselves out of this concept of not having the time. Because as I say, I tell everybody, pick a discipline, maybe outside of your passion. If you're not able to do that daily, day by day, then you might have a problem pursuing your passion because you have a problem with being disciplined. Unfortunately, take some of the time out of your craft and apply that to your daily life. I say, the greatest thing maybe to stimulate with your passion, if you're trying to create it to be habitual once again, is to try at least working out for 30 minutes. Actually, I'll reduce that. 15 to 20 minutes a day of your basic calisthenics. Stretching, maybe push-ups, maybe sit-ups, squats, whatever your preference, whatever you're able to do. Incorporate a discipline that you don't want to do in your life because you don't want to do it. Incorporate it. Because then you'll start to push yourself out of these stagnant motions and become more of your greater self, so you can develop the feeling of discipline, so you can utilize that when, it comes down to you being like, when you get in that feeling of, I don't have time to write, I don't have time to do this music, I don't have time to paint or draw, but you found time for something else that didn't require a discipline. You found time for your television show. You found time for, parlaying on social media. You found time for that. You found time to be texting. You found something else to do in your life that doesn't require a discipline. So, as I'm saying for now, for you guys to apply one discipline to your life that is going to be applicable to one of your passions, so you can start to break this stagnation within yourself. Also, stop surrounding yourself by those people who tell you that you are unable to do something. Even if your passion is holistic, even if you want to incorporate, this path of witchcraft of which we practice, into bettering your life, because it's still a craft, it's still an art. You know how to work with these herbs to give people better benefits. You know how to combine certain oils to get certain benefits. You know how to apply certain energy to certain things, bringing down certain energies within ourselves to cause greater outcome and potential within our lives. That is the craft. That is an art. That isn't something that's just learned overnight. It's something that we are passionate about, something that we believe in, and something that we have seen work. But, like I said, we learn about it, though. We have these natural knacks that are born into us. Granted, when it comes to writing music, there's a little spark within us that we know as an artist, as a great artist, that we can become the best at it. As a painter, it's the same. You know, it's as a writer, of a book writer, it's the same. We have this little spark within us that knows that we can really cultivate something within these books and become great through it. Or rather, show our greatness through this. So, take the time to dedicate yourself into your studies, into your art. Take your time to bring yourself out of these stagnant ways of becoming something that you're not. You may work day to day because it benefits you. True indeed. There's nothing wrong with that. You're accumulating your finances and you don't want to lose certain securities. Not everybody wants to live on the streets to become, their greater selves. Some people are able, and sometimes it works. To each his own. Whatever benefits you in becoming your greater self, apply that. If it takes maybe taking some vacation time, if it won't affect you in certain ways, take that time out if you know that you're going to dedicate it towards your passion. Even if it's one day, take the time. We don't take the time, and we become a part of this linear structure that we're bound by the hours, the minutes, the seconds, and we're not becoming, and we're becoming confined to that. We become conditioned to this saying, these lores of people saying, time is of the essence and life is short. So we have to take, life isn't short. It's a long life. We go through a lot in a year, a lot in a month, a lot in a day. It's not linear. It just happens sometimes. So as I'm saying, basically take this time out for yourself in this video to self-reflect and see if there is a passion maybe that you haven't been pursuing, that you really want to pursue, and that you think that, it'll bring you your greater outcome in life if you really take advantage of this. Don't keep pushing it to the side. Don't keep listening to others who are not supportive of what you want to do. I mean, even if you have to find out that it didn't work, find out that it didn't work. That's all. Because you have so much potential of it working for you than you do it not working for you. And especially since we have this internet network these days, we have this social capability to reach out to so many different niches, so many different companies that doesn't even require the physical footwork of what it did before. So take advantage of these opportunities and utilize them. Like I said, take one habit that you don't like in your day-to-day life, which is usually working out for most, and apply that habit and apply that discipline, even if it's reading. If you're a person who is fond of what you hear, but you don't like to read, take on a book for yourself. Read it a little. Become that catalyst now that you can be the one delivering a message to somebody else through a book that you read because of how it worked for you. Take that discipline out to discipline your mind. If you don't want to read, your mind is lazy. If you don't want to work out, your physical is lazy. If you don't want to meditate, your mind is disturbed and your spirit is disturbed and it is becoming stagnant and lazy. Take that for however it is you're being lazy and you're procrastinating in your path. Get up and shake yourself out of this stagnation and become your greater self. Sit on that. Again, another message from your boy Gnostics. I hope you all have a good day. Divine greetings, divine morning, and Catch me on the next. Peace.